there's other people who are just shooting by the hip. I don't know what just happened. It said it's recording. Maybe that's just my moderator, James. But so, and we only have 100 people on here, so maybe it'd be better if we wait for a couple, maybe a minute more, so we can get a couple more 100 people to talk about this. But basically, Hunter's laptop contained I said 30 gigabyte backup on an interview with Hearts of Oak, which is an English outfit. It's approximately 28.5, and I value precision, and so I just want to be completely on point. It's about 28.5 gigabytes of material. A large portion of that is videos, because Hunter's videos were in high resolution, which is good for us because that means the diagramming and meme potential is just off the charts, both for just degenerate shit and then also clearly illegal stuff. So the 28's a little bit deceiving because that is a lot of material, but a couple of the videos themselves are over 1 gigabyte. We only have 130 people on here. I wanted a couple hundred, but if we're recording it, I guess it doesn't really matter. But basically, this backup had not been accessed before. Okay. And the reason why I'm going into this and trying to be very precise is it is technical, and it is discreet and sort of above the shoulders acidic mustard shit. And so what a backup means is that if you have Apple products, you can do an iCloud backup, which means that you can back up your devices over Wi-Fi, etc. Or you can do a backup with, like, a charging cord, right? And you can choose to do all of the material or a certain portion of it. Well, luckily, from our perspective, Hunter did a full device backup. Okay. And what this means is that all of the photos and the content from the laptop is in the original form that he had it on his phone. So these videos are high resolution. In fact, I'm going to share my screen. This is why I'm doing this. I'm going to share my screen and show you a forensics program that we use to basically decrypt the backup. Okay. And it's called iMazing. And you can see it right here. I'm going to share. I'm going to just do iMazing. So this is the backup of Hunter's iPhone, okay? And we were shaking when we got in this. We got in this a little over a month ago, and at that time, nobody else had gotten into it. But what is critical to underscore here is that no cloud was accessed. The reason why I have been so particular about this is because if you say his iCloud was hacked into, that's the most retarded thing we could say right now. Because the reason why Hunter's attorney is so mad at us, and me particularly, Marco Polo, is because we haven't made stupid mistakes. Okay, the stupidest thing we could do right now is say somebody hacked into Hunter's iCloud account. That is illegal. What we did was basically we found a briefcase in a dumpster, and a certain compartment in that briefcase had not been accessed before. And we just played with the Rubik's Cube long enough, because I'm young and nothing is beneath me, and unlike a lot of the older guys, Jack Maxey, etc., nothing is beneath me. I do the actual work. Okay, he doesn't do any work, no forensics whatsoever. And we just kept playing with Rubik's Cube for months on end, and we got into it. We were shaking when we got into it because we knew what this meant: 30 more gigabytes. But I want to distinguish between the iPhone backup on one end of the spectrum. So there's a line here, right? There's the iPhone backup that's totally legit. On the other side is 450 gigabytes that we got from an iCloud. That is bullshit. It's utter bullshit. And Pasobic, and all these other folks saying that they got into his iCloud, what they are doing is admitting to illegality. Because to access that, by definition, to get into his cloud today, you would have had to get into his password today. What we did was totally different. We played with the Rubik's Cube long enough. We got into his backup, which was stored locally on the device. I cannot stress enough how important that is, because when we release all this in our report, there's going to be new stuff that's on the backup that's not on the main laptop, the iPhone backup. Okay, so if you look at my screen right here, this is iMazing. This is what we go through all of his photos. There's 1,000 more photos. If you want like a bottom line up front version of the backup details, here it is. Now you'll be able to see my the location that I have it on my computer now. But basically, we used iMazing. This is the serial number of the phone. Different forensics. The last time he backed it up was on February 6, 2019, and the password is Julia is 26, capital J exclamation point. Julia is 26. And so what happened last night on 4chan is apparently somebody else figured it out finally. We weren't gatekeeping anything. All this shit some of it's already been released on through the U.S. Sun. And Hunter Biden was trending on Twitter before 4chan, and Jill Biden was. And you can thank us for that, okay? But we don't go around talking like that. That was all. We had this planned out from, there's a great writer at the Sun called Alex Diaz, and I've been working with him. He's been great. And so we've gone through this. There's everything from, photos, some of these you've already seen before, to all of his text messages separated by conversation. And an annoying thing is the voice memos. You can see what they're entitled, but they're not viewable. But the laptop had a lot of voice memos the way it is. Okay, so it's not that big of a deal. But there's WhatsApp messages. There's a woman on here named Fernanda Batello. If you're Brazilian, you need to perk up. Fernanda Andrea Batello is a stripper, a hooker from Boston, and she worked at a strip club. And basically, Hunter, this is all going to be in the report, but Hunter hired her to film one of his pornos. He called it his first feature film with Zoe Keston. So everybody knows that Hunter wanted to be a porn star. That's been out there. Fox Nation did a good bit on it, but this will be we'll have greater detail on what Hunter wanted his pornos to look like. And this is Uncle Jimmy. Uncle Jimmy is a joke. He's one of my favorite characters from this entire saga. Indira Simo is a hooker from Brooklyn. Hunter sent her about $25,000. There's a non-zero chance that her son Nolan is Hunter's. That's another huge story. We can't confirm it yet. That's why we haven't ran with it. The difference between us and, somebody said something today that none of the big name media accounts like Benny Johnson or Jack Posotic talk about Garrett. That's because I don't shill for them. I kiss no one's ass. I don't go say, hey, can you retweet this for me? All of our support's been completely organic. You know what our marketing budget is? Zero. It's just me. So all this support we've had from Marco Polo has been grassroots, small dollar. Okay, that is why it's been a labor of love. The people who helped us get into the backup are volunteers. They're on the board. So Indira Simo is another one of these chicks that the report goes into in great detail. Pretty much every single time Indira Simo has been on the internet, we've footnoted it. And we go through it all. There's Safari, there are some apps that, because we're not connected to the internet right now, we can't really take advantage of. But this has all of its call history. So the voicemails from Joe, the creepy one, that the Daily Mail, the best piece of Daily Mail has done in the last 2 years has been the voicemail. So this one is from, and he set it up so where he had no caller ID. Joe did. But let's listen to it. Maybe, hopefully you can hear it. But I think you're clear. So along with the creepy whispering like he does at the podium, which is, I got them $45 billion. He's a fucking creep. This shows that Joe knew exactly what was going on with CEFC. He knew all about Ye Jinping. He knew all about Zhang Jianjun. It's all going to come out. Okay, it's just all in the same country with a free press. It's all mind-blowing shit. But the voicemails were a file type that was precious to this backup, and we went through these. I didn't sleep. There was one night. I'll get the exact date we got into it, but I was up till like 5:30, combing through all this shit. And then you can imagine my excitement and having to put all these new things in as exhibits in the report. It just makes it that much better. Remember, there's going to be no genitalia in the report, so a lot of the genitalia is covered with Hunter's crack teeth that he got CEFC chiclets for to cover. Crack had rotted his teeth, and he needed veneers put in, which I call CEFC chiclets. But so there's voicemails in the iPhone backup, and so the big distinction I wanted to make was that there's an air-gapped iPhone backup, 28.5 gigabytes, and then there's this iCloud, 450 gigabytes, which there's zero evidence for. Zero. Maxie and all of his retards put this out in March. He got a photo shoot, this gay little photo shoot in Zurich. He looked like a 15-year-old girl posing for the camera. That's all bullshit. There's been zero evidence for that. And so you can imagine my frustration when people accuse, like this Brian Cakes figure who masturbates himself to sleep every night. He's a total loser. I mean, this guy is a total failure. His bloodline's going to stop with him. He's got nothing going for him, okay? And he tells people that I'm the federal informant. I mean, what do I have to do with these people? I know I have no marketing budget, but I mean, how fucking stupid do you have to be? Have one conversation with me. This guy knows zero about me. Zero. And so you can imagine my frustration when these people are saying there's 450 new gigabytes, and the same people got duped with the same shit in March. And the reason why this matters is because it's not just some two-bit congressman. Okay, it's not just some congressman with a wayward son. This dude has the nuclear codes. His family's totally calmed by the Chi-Coms, by everybody. Chinaman has a grip on Joe Biden's nutsack, okay, because of this shit. And so this really matters. And so if somebody's saying we've got 450 gigabytes, I'm not denying that they have Joe's phone number now and are texting him memes. I think that's hilarious, okay? Would I do it? No, because I think it's a stupid. I want to win. I want the truth to get out there in full. Why would I want to do something that would get my house right now? I'm not opposed to getting my house rated if it matters, but sending Joe a meme and getting my house rated for that, it just, the cost benefit analysis doesn't pan out, right? So a lot of these 35-year-old guys, these aren't sharp people, okay? We're not sending our best that are doing this shit. And so I'll stop there, but we have photos, messages, WhatsApp, call history, his voicemail, his contacts. The other thing that they're saying was Joe was known as Pedo Peter. It's not true. That was another backup on the laptop dealing with Hunter Biden II, meaning Bo's child, his iPad backup. And that's what his contact was set as in that iPad. So Pedo Peter was not Joe. I'm not saying that Joe's not a freaking creep. I'm saying the shit's wrong. And this stuff has a way of taking on a life of its own. All right. So I don't know if anybody has any questions. I'm going to go back here. James is my guy, is my dear friend and moderator. If you have any questions whatsoever about this iPhone backup, and if you want to know why we did what we did, and what our strategy is, and by our I mean Marco Polo, there are many things I've been called in my life. The stupidest one is a Fed. Okay, I hate the federal government, and I most importantly hate the intelligence community. Somebody just asked me, if Trump makes it back in, and I do think that he's going to make it back in. As the 47th president, I think he's going to be the second president in American history to serve non-concurrent terms if I would go back to the White House. And as far as I'm concerned right now, I would not want to go back to the White House unless we get the intelligence community cleaned up. It's all for naught. So the most important thing is to get somebody in OD&I with some real gonads and just start. I mean, just like Jesus did with the Jewish money changers, just taking the axe to them. And that's what we need to do to the IC. If that's not done, the music stops. So I'll shut up, but I felt obligated to all of our supporters and to the small amount of haters and losers that we have. I felt compelled to do this. Mel in the chat is a shill. I'm not going to talk to him or her. But if anybody else wants to comment, Brenda Armstrong sounds like a woman from my church parish. Hey, Brenda, I love you too. If anybody else has any questions about the iPhone backup, if you want me to post some metadata, like the serial number from the iPhone, how much it is exactly, how we got into the backup, feel free. But if you don't have any questions, that's fine. I think James hit the recording, so somebody can play this back if they weren't on the app at the time that I started it. My wife's at the grocery store, so I had some time where the kid's not clawing at my door like a puppy. But anybody else have any questions? Do you know that you can raise your hand if you want questions? There's only 300 on here. I'd like to get it to 1,000, but I have to plan that. So to get critical mass. But anyways, the iPhone backup was on the laptop. It was air gapped. No cloud was accessed. This guy has a George Washington avatar on. He said he wanted to speak, but now he doesn't. Okay, well, hey, God bless. I think this was recorded, but again, there's no evidence whatsoever for getting into Hunter's iCloud. There is evidence that someone got into his iPhone backup, which we praise, right? See, the difference between us and all these other groups is I want everybody talking about this. In a way, if the iCloud fake news shit wasn't swirling around, I would praise this. But what's going to happen is the left is going to use this to say anything coming from Marco Polo can be hacked from his iCloud, which we did not do. Okay? So Brandon Harris, he's one of my favorite people on my channel. I don't know if he had anything to say. But all right, Pirate Hooker 1807, thanks for watching. God bless you. Take care.